Hey, good evening, everybody. So, a little recliner chat. I just got back early yesterday morning from flying to South Carolina for my sister's funeral. It was a beautiful service. My cousin Tracy, her husband Daniel, their children, Eli, Parker, and Lily, they all took me in. And I had a wonderful visit with them. Such loving people. I love them. I can't explain enough my gratitude to them. Um, it was a debt I could never possibly repay. My anxiety was through the roof because of complications with the family and stuff. I had had panic attacks for the week and a half beforehand. Everybody at work was worried about me because of my panic attacks. I was having them at work. I was having them at home. I would only sleep an hour here, there, wherever. I was maybe averaging 2.5 hours of sleep a day. It was horrible. My therapist was ready to almost admit me into the mental ward at the VA. That's how bad it had gotten. Um, and I found out about my sister's funeral plans by her obituary being updated with the Williamsburg County Funeral Home. So I took a loan out and I secured money to get home. And I did. My cousin Tracy was like, "Don't you worry about it. You need to be home for your sister's funeral. I'll pick you up. I don't care." And my family's kind of complicated. Not going to go into details, but there's some of us that honestly just don't get along, and it's kind of a nightmare. But it's my sister. I needed to be there. I wanted to be there. I had to say my final goodbye to her. And so I flew home and only told my dad and my cousin about my trip home. And I got home, my cousin picked me up. She's a hospice nurse, so I was, riding around with her, insomniatic as I was, as she's visiting patients, and rode with her for quite a few hours until she took me back to her house. And her husband was like, "Why don't you just try and lay down and try and nap a little bit before visitation night?" Well, I tried to lay down. The first hour I was having panic attacks, couldn't sleep. Finally fell asleep for an hour, had a horrible nightmare, woke up, rolled around for the next hour, and I was like, okay, that's all I was getting. Go to the funeral home. Literally had to wait in the car for about 20 minutes, breathing exercises, everything, before I could walk in. Tracy goes in with me. My dad, his wife, my uncle, my aunt, a whole bunch of my family from my daddy's side greeted me. They were so friendly. Pastor Mike, he greeted me warmly, huggingly, almost broke my back. In fact, I told him to hug me again. Crack my back. Let's do it. And we stood around for about an hour just chatting. We were looking at pictures of Carol and talking about the memories of the pictures and everything. And we laughed a good bit. And I just had to work up the nerve to go into the viewing room. Her coffin was going to be closed anyway, but I needed to be there close to her to feel that as her older brother, her protector, that I was there. And so we finally walk in. A certain aunt rolled her eyes when she saw me, and I guess she darted out the back door. That's her thing. No hard feelings to her. I still love her to death. Um, and then family came around and were chatting with me and stuff, and it was a good time. We traded stories. We had a lot of laughs, and it released my anxiety. My anxiety disappeared. My panic attacks kind of disappeared. Me and Tracy, we stopped by gas station afterwards. I got a Pepsi. We ended up getting some food from Domino's. Oh boy. And we went home and traded more stories and went to bed. And I actually slept 10 hours. I kid you not. I did. Here I am struggling to get an hour of sleep here and there for almost 2 weeks, and then I get 2 hours of sleep. It was wonderful. Oh my Lord, have mercy. So the next day was the funeral. Oh, gracious. That was a hard day. I didn't want to cause any confusion with the family, so we walked into the church and we kind of just sat quietly in the back, and some people gave me the stink eye. Thanks. Yes, I know I'm gay, I'm HIV positive. What else do you want? Okay. So we sat in the back row while my uncle was trying to get me to go into the back, and I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine here. Well, my cousin Kristen and my daddy came out. I was like, get your ass back here. Okay, I'm going. You just told me to get my ass back there. I'm going to go. Not a problem. And so I go back there. My Aunt Kathy, my Aunt Janie, they, greet me immediately. My daddy, his wife, they wanted me to make sure I stuck by them. My close cousins were all, supporting me being there. And there was awkwardness in the room because of me and a certain other person. And it was okay. I felt welcomed, and I was only there for my sister. So we walk in, the service goes along. I barely got mentioned. Somebody else got mentioned quite a bit. Okay, that's fine. No hard feelings there. My daddy didn't get mentioned at all. And he's been doing a much better being a dad for us over the past few years. And that kind of hurt me. That kind of actually pissed me off. And the rest of the family, I mean, if Carol was home, they were trying to see her and do whatever they could with her and stuff. So that kind of did tick me off that none of them got mentioned. But, apple to oranges, whatever. Get to the cemetery and everything. We do our little ceremony there. There was 3 preachers involved, and this one pastor, I'm not even gonna mention his name. He comes to greet me and tell me his condolences and everything, and he's like, Ellis, I'm praying for you, and you need to get back in church, and you know why? And I kind of rolled my eyes. He's like, boy, don't you roll your eyes at me. You know what I'm talking about. I was like, bud, let me tell you something. I have no religion. You have no standing with me, and yes, it's probably a felony for me to strike a man of the cloth in the state of South Carolina. You need to let go of my hand. And he kept pushing his little agenda. And my dad had to tell him, you need to stop talking to my son like this. What kind of preacher does that at a funeral? Yeah, I know I'm gay. I know I'm not part of the church anymore. But who the heck pulls that at a funeral? That's kind of crap. Especially my sister's funeral. I'm there to pay my respects to my sister. And I told her goodbye and I love you, my dear, in Hebrew as I laid my rose on her coffin and went back later to kiss her head. I was ticked off. My dad was ticked off. Quite a few other people in the family were ticked off, which overheard what this particular person had to say. Folks, there's a time and place to have your way of saying things, but there's also a time and place to be respectful. That was definitely a lapse in judgment, and I'm not going to condemn him or judge him. I've had lapse in judgment in leadership myself before, so I'm not going to judge or condemn him for his. But still, at my sister's funeral, that was kind of crazy. But I didn't go to jail. though I wanted to punch the hell out of him. And it was an eventful trip back home. I have to thank my cousin Tracy, her husband Daniel, their children. I love them all to death for taking me into their home. God bless you all. I really do. And I want to thank my cousin Whitney McGee for her warm hospitality. We got to share some stories and some good laughs and everything. And oh man, Whitney, I love you to death, darling. I always have, I always will. And I certainly hope Hudson has no more little boo boos with his teeth. Oh my goodness. That picture was, ooh my. He busted his front two teeth, and it was nasty. Oh my goodness. So bless him. My thoughts out to you. I don't really pray, but I will give my best wishes and thoughts. But overall, it was so good to see my family. I was very thankful to see them. I'm very happy to see them. And I could have asked for anything better. I got to see my sister one last time. Granted, I never had to cough it open. I wanted my last memory of her to be when the last time I saw her, happy, giggling, and everything. I didn't want to see her corpse. I did not. That's the way I believe things. Last time I saw you, that's how I want to see you. So, but I got to be there, and I felt her presence, and I got to say goodbye. And that's all that mattered to me. And it helped my panic attacks. It helped my anxiety. They pretty much gone away. Do I still have the threat of panic attacks for my gang rape and stuff? Yes. But I'm not having the panic attacks for not knowing what's going on with my sister. I got to be there and got to say goodbye. Folks, never take each day for granted. Live each day as though it's going to be your last. And love your family as though today is the last day you're going to see them. Because you never know. The day I saw my sister, I didn't know that was going to be the last day I was going to see her. I didn't know the next day she was going to die. I didn't. So always love everybody in your life. That's all you can do. And make your life spectacular by living every day as though it's your last. That's my piece I'm going to say tonight. I'm finally back on good grounds mentally, thankfully. Soon going to be moving to Portland, God willing, and start anew. So, my best wishes from me to you, all your families. I love every one of you guys. God bless you. May you all be blessed. Bye-bye.